Hello everyone, back to tuning in today's second video, doing USA forecast for today's second video. So as always on a Wednesday, we're having a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days for the United States. We'll extend out beyond that with the CFS V2. Rent around 4 weeks, and I shall get on with it for you in a moment. We're going to begin in the tropical Atlantic, because we are just on the periphery now, just on the edge, just on the cusp of the start of this year's tropical storm / hurricane season. So we'll have a look at what's going on in the tropics as we begin this USA forecast. Just say that the first video release today was our 7 a.m. upload. We're also going to have a 10 to 14 day as well, with all of the regular features later on this afternoon. And between now and then, we're going to have the JMA free monthly update. So it'll be like JMA Wednesday, I suppose, looking at the JMA seasonal. Please like, share, subscribe on all the videos. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. I hope you're having a lovely Wednesday. Right, let's have a webcam off. I'm going to begin in the tropical Atlantic. So currently, tropical cyclone activity is not expected during the next 48 hours in the Atlantic Ocean or the Caribbean. So that's from National Hurricane Center. Quiet at the moment in the tropical Atlantic. Of course, we did have a tropical storm a few days ago. That dissipated very quickly because we're so early on in the season. But again, getting a tropical storm ahead of the official start of the hurricane season probably tells us we're going to be in for a relatively big season. This is from TropicalTidbits.com. You're going to be seeing a lot of this over the next few weeks. So this is the mean sea level pressure anomaly for the tropical Atlantic. So just so you know where everything is. So we've got America just here. This is the east coast of America down there. This is like the Gulf Coast here. So that's the Gulf of Mexico. There we've got the we've got Africa over here. And of course this is like the tropical Atlantic just here. So this is where these tropical storms and hurricanes start their lives. They begin just as thunderstorms, usually somewhere around Cabo Verde Islands down here, for example. And so just clusters of thunderstorms coming out of Africa into the tropical Atlantic Ocean. They may pick up energy and moisture as they meander their way across the tropical Atlantic, and gradually over time they strengthen from thunderstorms into areas of low pressure, and from areas of low pressure into tropical storms, and from tropical storms to hurricanes, going up the scale of hurricane strength. But yeah, typically they just start as thunderstorms, you know, fairly innocuous areas. Right, so this is how it currently sets up across the tropical Atlantic. So no sign of any areas of low pressure. Let's run through, see what this GFS run does. So weakening pressure a little bit through here. So maybe that could spawn something. I would assume that's some thunderstorms beginning to crack up. But there's no sign of an actual area of low pressure developing there. So we're into the 2nd of June now. And still just relatively weak pressure here. So these will be areas of thundery showers or thunderstorms through the tropical Atlantic, but not developing into areas of low pressure. No sign of anything spiraling off and spawning into life through the first week of June. There's an area of low pressure that's just there on the coast of Africa, very near the Cabo Verde Islands. Whether that could develop into something, we'll have to wait and see as we run on. So there might be a little area of low pressure, a little trough really, that's developing just there. This is on the 7th of June, around Cabo Verde. But otherwise, still looking relatively quiet up to this point. We're heading on into 2nd week of June, out to a very extended range, and no sign of any areas of low pressure developing then as we come to the end of the GFS run, which gets us to the 11th of June. Again, relatively quiet. There are some areas of thunder, some thundery showers and thunderstorms, again, close to Africa and moving into the tropical Atlantic around Cabo Verde, but again, no sign of any developments updating. So it looks like things are going to be relatively quiet up to the 11th of June, if that GFS run is right. Of course, it's very, very early on, just at the absolute beginnings of this season. But for the next week, couple of weeks, no sign of any developments. We will keep a check every week, though, on what's going on. Of course we will. Right, these are GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles. Next couple of weeks, we're at Washington, D.C. Today, even the red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Washington, D.C. We're starting off hot at the moment, been very warm across many parts of America over the past few days, but there is a cool down coming. So the next few days we're going to return close to average, and then as we go into the early part of next week, actually we go a little bit cooler than average for a few days. So quite a significant drop in the temperature taking place actually over the next 4 or 5 days from where we're starting off at just there, which is pretty hot, down to here. Quite a significant cool down. It doesn't last all that long as we run through the first week of June. And indeed into the second week of June, we see those upper air temperatures lifting up then. So there is a cool down coming up for like next week, quite a significant one. And then temperatures will start to heat up once again. Quite unsettled as well. Regular precipitation spikes coming up for the capital from beginning to end, especially just here, associated with the cool down. Of course, that could involve torrential rain and thunderstorms as we're losing the heat and humidity and going into something a lot cooler. So watch out for storms across northern, eastern parts of America. Over the weekend into part of next week. And then after that, just looks quite unsettled, really, despite the fact temperatures are getting quite warm again for the first week of June. Looks like there will be regular showers, maybe in some thunderstorms involved in that. Temperature anomalies from the 22nd of May to the 3rd of June, actually cooler than average in many parts of America. So out west, it's going to be quite a hot week coming up, above average temperatures through these western states. But anywhere from like the Rocky Mountains eastwards looking pretty cool, to be honest, through the breadbasket states, looking very chilly through there in the weekend, and then pushing over towards the east side of America. Even there, it is going to be a little bit cooler than average. So a definite cool down coming from like the hot weather we've had over the past few days. Definite relief from that. And a quick and a rapid cool down, but then probably a quick warm up beyond this into the second week of June. Precipitation anomalies look like that. So freeway split, drier than average across these western states, wetter than average through the central states, and then we go through into the eastern, particularly the southeastern states, and it goes drier than average once again. Relatively dry across the far northern states as well. This is how the latest GFS run is looking for today then. So this is for Wednesday, 26th of May. Most parts of America still hot. Still this ridge across these southern and southeast states still pushing the heat northwards. But we have got this area of low pressure in Canada that's bringing down some cooler air from the north. You can see it's in better on the upper air temperature. So again, it is a hot scene across most parts of America today. A little bit cooler out in the far northwest, close to the Pacific coast. And of course, we've got this cooler air digging in from the north here in Canada into the extreme northern part of America, almost on the Canadian-USA border. But these are exceptions. Most parts of America looking very warm to hot again today. However, over the next couple of days, we're going to find an area of low pressure developing through the Midwest and pushing in towards the east. This low, as we saw with the ensemble graph from Washington, will bring lots of heavy rain and potentially thunderstorms at the end of week and into weekend for many of these northern and east states. But we'll also start to pull in cooler air from the north, courtesy of this ridge of high pressure that is sitting across those northern states. So there's the upper air temperatures for Friday. Very hot, of course, out in the west, as you expect this time of year. That's where the extreme heat will be in the west and in the southwest states. Many of the southern states looking pretty hot too, but clearly it is turning cooler through the breadbasket and over into the east. We've got cooler air digging in on the northern and west side of this area of low pressure. As I say, the contrast in the temperatures is likely to fuel heavy showers and potentially thunderstorms too. Into weekend, that low pressure will push into the eastern part of America, take heavy rain and thunderstorms through there. Then on its backside, this ridge of high pressure will build in from Canada. But again, winds in from the north to northeast will be quite cool. So as we go to Sunday, most parts of northern central East America are actually under an area of high pressure. But within that high pressure, despite that there will probably be quite a lot of sunshine, the air will actually be quite cool. There's the upper air temperature showing really quite a significant and substantial cool down has taken place across many northern and eastern parts of America at this point. Even in the west, it's not as hot as it has been. The heat is in the southwest, so like California into Arizona, those sort of states, Oklahoma, likely to be really hot and pushing northwards towards Nevada, for example, really hot through there. But perhaps not as hot as you expect at this time of year. And further north of that, not overly warm either. But it really is on the eastern side of America that we are going to have those cool upper air temperatures through the part of next week. The early part of next week is dominated by high pressure across many parts of America, so there will be a lot of dry weather around through the early part of next week, but it will remain quite cool, I think, under that area of high pressure as the upper air temperatures, they are gradually starting to lift up. But away from the west and the southwest, where the heat by this point, this is up to Wednesday next week, by this point the heat is really starting to build now through particularly Southern California and into Arizona, becoming exceptionally hot at this point. Again, very typical for early June. But away from there, again, temperatures are a little bit on the low side, but beginning to stage a slight recovery under that ridge of high pressure. And as we go through in towards the end of next week, running up towards day 10, then it looks like we can start pulling up some hotter air from the south. The northwest looks cooler with this trough of low pressure coming in from the Pacific byway, that brings showers or longer spells of rain, and then that pushes into these more northern states by the time we get through day 10, which is the 5th of June. But by this point, many parts of America are beginning to turn hotter as we're drawing the air up from the south. That's really the trend, I think, as we go through into the second week of June. We get this big ridge developing through these eastern, northeastern states, pulling up heat from the south. And so it's an increasingly hot scene as we move into the second week of June. Maybe you even say a heat wave is likely into the second week of June. Look at those upper air temperatures. Well, extraordinarily hot, extremely hot. Across these western, southwestern states. Again, very, very typical for those areas. Not unusual, but extremely hot. But look how hot it is now across many of these eastern, northeastern states. So GFS is definitely suggesting like a heat wave into the second week of June for many northern and eastern parts of America. Again, this is extended range stuff, so it's unreliable. It's in the unreliable time frame. But after a much cooler first week of June, we could well be in for a proper, sort of the first proper heat wave of the season into the second week of June. Right, let's move on to ECM then. So this is how the ECM-WF is looking in terms of the upper air temperature today. So again, you see quite a warm scene across many parts of the states today. A little bit cooler in the far northwest, but otherwise upper air temperatures are pretty warm through most parts of America today. But a cool down coming via this area of low pressure later on in the week, or at the end of the week. This low will bring heavy showers and thunderstorms through the Midwest and eventually into the east, and will pull in cooler air from the north as well as the upper air temperatures. So looking hot in the southeast on Saturday. The southeastern states will be very hot, but much cooler to the north and west of that area of low pressure. Expect violent thunderstorms with the contrast in temperatures. Then that low pressure moves out into the Atlantic, takes thunderstorms into the eastern seaboard, I suppose. Later in the weekend, moves out into the Atlantic, a ridge builds behind it, turns much drier, but will be quite cool under that ridge of high pressure, very much in line with what the GFS is showing. In the meantime, the heat is building next week out in these western and southwestern states, very typically for this time of the year. I think temperatures will be up to 40 degrees, for example, for Arizona by the middle of next week, if that's right. That's into hundreds Fahrenheit. Heading up towards day 10, again, same idea as like the GFS, gradually turning warmer, hotter air, pushing northwards through these northern east states, exceptionally hot in the west, southwest, of course, as you'd expect, into early June. But the heat beginning to spread out across many parts of America by day 10, and that could be the beginnings, that's the 5th of June, that could be the beginnings of a heat wave developing through many parts of America as we go through into the second week of June. Right, let's just have a look at CFSV2 and see what that's showing for the next 4 weeks. So these are 500 millibar heights, and they're broken down into weekly periods. The first week period is going to take us from the 25th of May to the 31st. Coming week, we'll have this area of high pressure way to the northeast, low pressure up to the north. Jet stream has been pushed quite a long way southwards with this, I think. So many parts of America are actually looking quite cool in the weekend, pulling cool air from the north to the northeast with this ridge in that northeastern corner. Into week 2, which is going to be the 1st through to the 7th of June. High pressure end generally extending through these northeast states. Trough low pressure in the southeast could bring some violent thunderstorms there. I think this is generally going to be start moving warmer air northwards, though, into that particular week. And then we go through into week 3, which is the 8th to the 14th of June. High pressure to the northeast and out west as well. This is going to be a very hot ridge. Of course, you hear there could be a trough of low pressure through here. That could be a bit volatile, maybe quite warm, but it could be volatile with risk of some thunder. Then into week 4, it's the 15th, 21st of June. Got a ridge down to the southwest and to the northwest, also to the northeast. Otherwise, job to decipher what's going on. There could be a trough of low pressure through there. Let's have a look at the temperature anomalies. So for the weekend, it is cool scene across many parts of America. 25th of May to the 31st. Below average temperatures widely across most parts of states, away from the far southern Gulf states anyway. Into week 2, we see northern and western and northeastern areas getting hotter. Still pretty cool in this southeastern corner though, but the northern western states and also the northeast becoming hotter through the 1st through to the 7th of June. Week 3 is the 8th through to 14th June. The CFA is not really interested in a heat wave through the 2nd week of June, I have to say, but it is going for some extreme heat across western parts of America and also in the east and the northeast. But through these breadbasket central states, it is quite a lot cooler through there. And then week 4, also looking pretty cool really across the central and eastern parts of America. What heat there is again in the west and in the northwest. Precipitation-wise, for week 1, we're looking like this. So the eastern, northeastern states are wetter than average. The western states, drier than average. Many of the southern states are drier than average as well. Week 2 is the 1st through to the 7th of June. Just generally drier because most parts of America. Still a little bit wet through here, but most parts of America becoming drier into week 2. Week 3 looks wet into the southeast and part of America, 8th to the 14th of June. Drier in the northwest. And then week 4, just generally quite unsettled, really. So particularly southern states looking quite wet, and also in the northwest and possibly in the northeast too. So it's a relatively mixed and changeable June being signalled there by the CFS. A shorter range, though, particularly with GFS, definitely hinting at a chance of a heat wave developing through the 2nd week of June. So we should wait and see about that. Right, so that's it with that, with webcam. Okay, so that's it for USA forecast for this week. We'll do it all over again next week. We'll be keeping a close eye every week on what's happening in the tropical Atlantic, of course, waiting for these storms and hurricanes to begin to get going. And I've got a feeling we're going to have another pretty big season this year, I suspect, but we shall see. Right, so that's it for USA forecast this week. Going to be back shortly with a little update with the GMA seasonal model for the UK and for Northern Europe. And then I'll have a 10 to 14 dayer with all regular features. USA forecast this week. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.